Hi, Cy here from MusicRadar. Cy Truss here from Future Music once again.
Hey.
We are checking out the Moog DFAM.
DFAM, yep, drummer from another mother, to give it its full name.
It's just there.
Yeah, so the mother part referring to the mother 32.
Mm-hmm.
So just to be clear, we got these two things racked up here.
Yeah.
We are talking about the top one here, which is DFAM. This down here is mother 32. You might remember mother 32 was released, what, two years ago?
2 years ago,
Some point in the last couple of years. It is a kind of semi-modular synth that works nicely as a standalone box, or it can be quite easily plugged into a Eurorack system. Works nicely with a lot of modular stuff.
Yeah. Both were born out of Moog Fest, weren't they? Because that was the...
both were kind of launched as
the
projects.
workshop, the workshop project. And then, so that was last year's one, and now they've released it.
Yeah. So DFAM again, as before, it can work as a completely standalone unit.
Yeah.
It's all self-contained, semi-modular. Also, it will slot nicely into a Eurorack setup.
Yeah.
Or, as we've got here, will rack up and look really nice.
And they do another tier as well, so you can get
so these wooden end stands, which I think are sold separately. You can get a 3-1. I think you can get an extender so that you can basically convert them into a little Eurorack system. But yeah, they look really nice together. DFAM. So what is it?
What is it, Si?
Yeah, what is it? I'm asking. Don't even need you here now because I'm asking the questions. DFAM is a percussion synthesizer, basically. So I wouldn't call it a drum machine, because drum machine kind of makes you think lots of different drum voices and sort of XOX style sequencer.
This is what esoteric, isn't it?
Yeah, so this is effectively, it is a single voice synth with two oscillators, but one that is very much tuned and designed to make cool percussive sounds. Yeah, basically, it does a bit of melodic stuff as well, but percussion and those kind of synthy bleeps.
Yeah, and a lot of noise. It's good at noise. General,
So let's take a very quick listen. Dive straight in.
Yeah.
What we've done, we're starting with Moog shipped these with these really cool little.
That's a very good idea.
Little overlays that basically you just slot over the top of your synth, and it kind of tells you
where to dial it all in.
Which is their version of presets, which I actually really like. These, I'm a fan of instruments that don't come with presets because it makes you just mess around with them. But these similar kind
of...
It's
a little guide. And now you can sort of go off and...
It's a nice little thing. It's cool.
On your
so
own voyage.
What we're using here is basically the kick, bass, snare preset thing that I have tweaked slightly. I've added this little percussion hit on the sequencer, which I don't want to say completely overhauls what they've done and makes it, but it vastly improves it. But so what you can hear from here is I like this patch because it's a good example of what DFAM can do. In that you've got a couple of different percussion sounds coming from the one synth voice. Also, you've got that little melodic bleep. The way we're doing that is by basically modulating oscillators, modulating a frequency, the filter frequency. We're adding noise in, so you've got this nice little noise generator. So this is a cool little example of
DFAM at its, working.
If we mess around a little bit, have a little play. So what's going on? What I'm going to do now is just break that patch and unplug for a second, just so we can pretty much talk through what we've got going on. So architecture-wise, we've got two oscillators. We've also got a noise source. You'll see you've got this little mini mixer here. Noise source shares a level with the external input. So our two oscillators both have square and triangle waves. One thing that is really interesting about the oscillators on this is that they've got a really wide range. So you've got frequency knobs for both. You've got 10 octaves from that frequency knob. So there is quite a massive range from kind of really basically sort of the lowest end of what you can possibly hear right up to the highest really from both oscillators, which is pretty interesting, and we'll come to that a bit more in a minute. So these oscillators, like I said, we've got a mini mixer where we can dial in some noise. We've also got a nice Moog filter. Then we've got an amp section here. So pretty simple synth voice, like its basic structure. Where the interesting stuff comes from is the modulation and what we can do with all these bits. So we've got 3 envelopes, pretty simple envelopes. First one just has a decay knob, and an amount, and that's internally routed to the oscillator pitch.
Yeah.
And we've got a second one, again, with just decay and an amount, and that's routed to the filter cutoff.
Okay.
And then a third amp envelope here, with just this decay knob and then a fast, slow switch. So let's just... So at the moment, all we're hearing... So we've got this switch here, which this controls whether this sequencer here, again, pretty simple sequencer, this controls whether one or both or neither of the oscillators are tracking the pitch. So we've got 2 lanes in the sequencer. It's really basic. We've got pitch and we've got velocity. At the moment, we've just got oscillator 1 dialed in here. So basically, that's just one oscillator coming through here. We've got, like I said, this simple envelope for modulating oscillator pitch. We've got a second oscillator here. Both have square and triangle waves, and then we've got noise here. Let's go back to just oscillator 1 for the moment. Got the filter here. Like I said, it's a really nice classic Moog filter with resonance that can go up into self-oscillation. And the filter has high pass and low pass modes there. Yeah. And again, so we can modulate it with this simple little envelope. All the envelopes are nice and snappy, as you would want from a percussion instrument. Okay. So it's easy to get those kind of quick, punchy little... nice little kind of punchy, percussive sounds out of these. Then, like I said, we've got this VCA here and the fast and slow attack switch there. So pretty basic. Like I said, where it becomes really interesting is when we start looking at these bits which allow us to modulate and combine the oscillators in interesting ways. So we've got a switch for hard sync. Let's dial in oscillator 2 again. Bring the filter up a bit. So. And we've got hard sync. We've also got this FM knob here, so we can use that to introduce a bit of frequency modulation. Basically what this does is modulates VCO2 by VCO1, which we can dial in for those FM sounds. But like I said, this becomes really interesting in the fact that we've got hard sync. Hard sync combined with FM can do some interesting things, particularly when you take into account the really wide range on these oscillators. So like when you start moving them apart loads, so obviously here we've got VCO1 kind of quite far down, VCO1 quite high up. You're sort of hard syncing and modulating 2 oscillators that are quite a way apart, and that's when you can start making these, as you can hear, really quite weird and gnarly noises. Particularly when we sort of bring the envelopes in as well. Another nice touch is this this knob here, which basically lets us modulate the frequency cutoff from the noise oscillator, and the effect that has, let's just turn down some of these things so we can hear a more simple version in a second. But the effect that has basically is kind of like a distortion type effect. Nice. Here like that. Again, a really cool little thing for adding a bit of grit to these percussion sounds.
A lot of grit out of that.
One thing you will notice as I'm basically playing around with this is it's really really quick to make quite big changes to the kind of timbre and the quality of the sound from just small movements. So this is a really nice little machine to tweak like this. Particularly when you've got kind of FM and modulation and stuff going on.
Yeah, little
small little
tweaks make.
Yeah, fairly small tweaks can make
a lot of difference in some places. Yeah.
So yeah, the sequencer, like I said, is really pretty basic. So you've got 8 steps. There's no way to change the length of that sequence. So you've always got 8 steps.
Okay.
And you've basically got velocity. And velocity, what that does is it is routed to the envelopes and the level. So basically the amp level. So basically dialing this up is increasing the amount of those envelopes.
Yeah.
And then you've got pitch, which obviously, like we said, you've got this switch here where we can control whether neither oscillator is tracking that pitch lane, or whether just oscillator 2 is tracking it, or whether oscillators 1 and 2 are tracking it.
Yeah, okay.
So that's pretty much what we've got going on there.
Yeah.
You've obviously also got this patch bay, which, while it's not completely exhaustive and what you get, it does offer a lot of flexibility to do some more things and mess around with it a bit. Let's try playing with some more of these.
We'll dial in some new
more
bits.
of these so you can hear some examples straight from the Moog collection here.
Cool. Okay, so we've left the patch on this time.
Yeah, so you can kind of see a little example of what you've got, these little red things.
This one's Electro Thump.
Yeah, let's have a little play. You're saying this is a favourite of yours. This is another good example of the kind of thing that you can do with this. Like we were saying, it's got a kind of like EBM-y sort of feel.
Yeah.
Like that kind of thing, that kind of EBM industrial techno thing. This thing is, that's what this thing really excels at, isn't it? Like any genre where you like those kind of like nice, meaty,
pounding beats,
kind of speaker shaking, percussive things.
Like I say, it's really easy to go off piece when you're like mixing in like the FM control and
like we said, once you start kind of pushing these oscillators, you can start doing some really weird things quite quickly.
Nice. Let's try another one. Let's go with...
Right, pick us out another one.
Big bottom bass. Here we go.
No,
Big
ready?
bottom bass. Run it. Oh, that's lovely.
So you've got these kind of... That's really nice for those lovely kind of, almost 808 like.
Yeah. You can push that decay as well, open it up.
Yeah. So we can get quite nice long bass on that. Soften the attack if we want. Add a bit of resonance for. And like we said, this noise modulation of the filter is really good for adding extra grit.
Yeah. Dirty it all up.
Add a bit of noise for that kind of attacky bit. What we're doing here is we're using the, as you can see, the velocity lane and not the glitch.
Nice. Okay. I think one more. Oh, we should do one more.
Let's do one more.
Tubular bells.
Tubular bells.
Come, mic on, Phil, let's do it. Okay, so I'm going to be massively disappointed because this is not going to sound like tubular bells. But I know, that's fine. Doesn't matter.
It's not going to sound like, what you want it to.
This is what it sounds like. But you got some very
You see where the name comes from. So what this is,
sort of sounds coming out of that.
So what this example is good to look at basically is that metallic FM thing. So obviously we've got FM turned up there.
Wound right up.
And that's kind of what we're using. Like I said, really easy to take it into weird sort of effectsy territory.
I find this the sequencer I find very instantly gratifying.
Yeah. So let's talk about the sequencer a little bit. So it's very basic, the sequencer on this, but that's kind of cool.
Yeah,
like
it's fine.
I really like the way the sequencer interacts with the thing. Like I said about the way the velocity kind of pushes the envelopes up. It's kind of good for adding those kind of like driving little bits. What I will say is these knobs are very fiddly.
Yeah.
If I was
stop that
for a second. If I was going to buy this, I personally, it'd be pretty easy to get your own pots and put some pots on there because
there's space for them.
Yeah, it's pretty fiddly.
Yeah, maybe not.
From kind of having a little scout around on the internet, it looks like that's what quite a lot of people are buying these.
Already, they're starting to do it. Yeah, fair enough.
Would be really easy to do, really nice to. The pitch lane on here. I mean, obviously this is mostly a percussion synth, so that's its main. It's sort of its MO. It can do kind of cool melodic things as well.
Yeah.
The sort of pitch sequencer here isn't the easiest thing necessarily to make kind of melodic lines with.
No,
It's kind of all right. I mean, you can, as we will look at in a minute, you can use another sequencer like something from the Mother 32. Because you've got this great patch bay which lets us do things like that. My main disappointment with DFAM is, so you'll see on the Mother 32 we've got this MIDI input here, and there's no MIDI input on there.
No.
I can kind of understand, some people will probably listen to me saying, "Oh, I want MIDI on this," and say, "Oh, well, that's kind of missing the point of it." And like I said, I really like the way the sequencer interacts with it. You can kind of see where it's coming from because it is very good for hooking up to modular gear and sequencing like that. However, I do think the lack of MIDI is disappointing. This makes a really nice standalone thing, and obviously you've got clock inputs and you've got kind of tempo inputs, and there's loads of gear out there now that does do CV sync or kind of pulse sync and things like that. That could sync it, but
it'd be nice to have
just nice to have a MIDI thing.
I mean,
it would just make it more flexible. One of the things that I really liked about the Mother 32. So Mother 32 is clearly aimed at being this kind of bridge between the world of kind of your more vanilla studio gear, your kind of standalone stuff, and the Eurorack modular world. And it kind of works nicely with that because you've got this MIDI input, and so you can basically just hook it up to your audio interface, and then you can kind of use this to build a bigger system and use this as a sort of little bass. And you can't really do that quite as easily with DFAM.
The Mother is still kind of the centre.
But I'm kind of a bit disappointed because I really like DFAM, and there's loads of things that would be great to sync up to it. And it'd just be nice to have,
just MIDI would be.
Also, I think you could, like I said, melodic things isn't its core MO, but you could do some cool things just hooking a MIDI keyboard or something up to that. And it's a shame not to be able to do that. Still, that's more just a thing to bear in mind rather than oh God, don't go out and buy it. No. It's definitely at its best paired with something like the Mother 32, or like I said, it's a drum voice as part of a Eurorack setup. It could be great. You've got plenty of inputs. So you've got pitch control. You've got plenty of options for syncing up the sequence or like triggering it or whatever. So you can use it as another voice or another oscillator in loads of things. So personally, if I owned a Mother 32. This would be a no-brainer buy. If you're looking for a cool drum thing to add to a Eurorack system, it's worth saying, like, this, as percussion synths go, there's nothing else really like this out there at the moment. Like, there's really kind of wide-ranging oscillators.
Yeah.
And the kind of punchy envelopes and stuff.
Right.
So if you're into this kind of thing, and particularly if you make that kind of like techno EBM, more kind of hardcore industrial stuff, it's absolutely
you need
great.
this in your arsenal.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. Yeah.
It's a great thing. It's not the cheapest bit of gear in the world.
No. But then you expect that from Moog, don't you? It's
premium
product.
You kind of know that from
built.
Moog. It's, and you know, the price of this for effectively what is just a single voice is quite a lot. But then again, you know, if you think you're going to get use out of it, there's nothing else that really sounds like it right now. Yeah. In that realm.
They've done a great thing in kind of carving a new. It's not just any old synth voice. Yeah. You know, there's so many of these kind of like modules nowadays that just do everything. Do we need another one of those? It's completely different.
It's really esoteric and there's kind of pros and cons to that. The pro, like I said, is that with these wide-ranging oscillators and stuff like that, there's not really anything else that sounds like it. Yeah. There is it does some things that are kind of weird and can be a bit of a nuisance. So this tempo knob, we were discussing this before we started filming. Yeah. So let's just show you this. The tempo knob has a really wide range, right down. The sequence is barely moving. Yeah. All the way up.
Yeah. We'd almost wish that it was either a more usable range for tempo or.
Well, yeah,
goes even further.
The slight problem I have with it is that it makes it really, really hard to try and get a sort of accurate.
But you can
tempo, which is another thing about
control it.
Yeah, but it's another thing about it being annoying not having the MIDI input. Yeah. Also, when you are controlling it like that, it's kind of a shame this tempo thing doesn't double up as anything like, I don't know, just like some sort of. It'd be great to have like a clock divider on it or something like that, so you could use the tempo as a secondary thing. Yeah. Because that tempo knob, standalone, is useful, but you're pretty much always going to be clocking this to something else. Absolutely. So it would be quite cool to get some secondary function out of that. Mm-hmm. Similar with the oscillators, like I love the wide range of them, and they are one of the best things about it. But it does mean that if you're trying to do melodic things, it can be really fiddly to try and tune because you've got this massive range, and you kind of if you've got fat clumsy hands like I do, you spend hours
sausage
trying to
fingers
get it.
over it.
Yeah, but you know, like I said, these are sort of little niggles that come as an aside to the fact that this is a kind of really interesting thing. Yeah. And if you want a more straightforward synth voice, there's loads of other stuff out there. But yeah, it's cool. It's really great.
It sounds ace. Even though the sequencer is quite basically saying it's fun to play with.
The thing I will
bit fiddly but fun.
Let's just sum up about this is the kind of thing that when we got sent this for review, I literally just got it out, stuck some headphones on, and was there for absolutely ages, just tweaking it and making weird sounds and sort of having a little late night techno rave at my desk. For that kind of thing, for that just sort of experimentation
and
just
it's
messing
very
around
immediate as well. Yeah,
it is great, and it's also it sounds absolutely huge.
It does sound huge.
So yeah.
So thanks for Moog for that.
Thumbs up, basically.
Great. Cheers, Si. Thanks for getting hands-on with it. Be sure to like, subscribe, comment, and share whether you're seeing this video right now. Head on over to musicradar.com for all the latest news, reviews, and tutorials. And of course, Future Music Magazine is on sale now. So go get it. Cheers.